عليكم طلبة الخامس الإعدادي في ثانوية الصف. نستمر وياكم مع الوحدة الخامسة. Today we are going to deal with the reading passage, قطعة القراءة, lesson 9, page 64 and 65. This reading passage is about Dana's stories. Dana's story. Vocabulary, المفردات اللي عندنا. Fortunate is an adjective. Fortunate محظوظ. Fortunately adverb. Fortunately هو الظرف. Luckily اللي هو محظوظ يعني. Fortunately opposite of unfortunately. Fortunately opposite and unfortunately. Silly means foolish or stupid. سخيف أو أحمق. Annoy يزعج is a verb. Annoying is an adjective. It means tiring, متعب or troublesome, كثير المشاكل. We have agree يوافق. Disagree لا يوافق أو يرفض. Room in the car, space or a seat in the car. فراغ في السيارة أو مكان في السيارة. True حقيقي. Untrue غير حقيقي. Opposite of true, untrue. Argue يناقش. Discuss it means discuss يناقش. The swings اللي هي المراجيح. Perfect idle مثالي. breeze gentle wind اللي هو النسيم. conscious واعي. opposite of unconscious فاقد الوعي. straight بصورة مباشرة أو مباشر. directly بصورة مباشرة. cheek هو الخد. Now please open your books, page 64, lesson 9, unit 5, lesson 9. If only I'd listened. This is a reading passage, قطعة قراءة مطلوبة. Dana's story. Dana al-Nasr tells a teen magazine about the worst day of her life and her biggest regret. دانا أخبرت مجلة المراهق حول worst day أسوأ يوم of her life في حياتها and her biggest regret وندمها الكبير. Last month my friend Layla Al-Faid invited me to go to the park for a picnic with her family. I was really looking forward to it. أتطلع إلى. I always have fun when I am with Layla. And it's always nice to get away from my own family for a change. Unfortunately, سوء الحظ, my little brother Faisal heard about the picnic and said he wanted to come too. He is only 9 and he is a bit silly sometimes. For example, he likes pulling Layla's long hair, and he usually tries to make Layla and me play football with him. It can be quite annoying. جدا تماما مزعج. For us لنا when we just wanted to chat and listen to music. So, when he asked me to take him on the picnic with Layla, of course I said no, and then I didn't think about it again. On the day of the picnic, I got up early and got my things ready. I had made 2 big cakes to take with me, and I'd bought fruit and some bottles of lemon. Layla and her family had agreed to pick me up at my house at 10 o'clock. At 9:30, Faisal came into the sitting room with his sports bag, حقيبة الرياضية. I'm ready to go, he said. When's Layla going to be here? I was so angry, I didn't answer him, and he went to look for Mom. A few minutes later, my mother came into the sitting room with him. Why can't Faisal go with you? She asked. He'll be good this time. I said, sorry, Mom. I can't take him. Layla and her family don't have room in the car. I didn't know if this was true, but it stopped Faisal and my mother arguing with me. arguing يناقشون أن يتناقشوا معي. At 10 o'clock, I heard the Al-Fai's car, and ran outside to meet them. My mother and Faisal never saw that the Al-Faids were taking 2 cars to the park, and there was plenty of space in both of them that day. It was fun at the park to start with. Everyone loved my cakes. Layla and I talked for ages about our plans for the future. أنا وليلى تحدثنا لفترة طويلة حول خططنا للمستقبل. We played on the swings قلنا المراجيح, and ran about, and we played cards. The weather was perfect. مثالي, الجو كان مثالي. Not too hot and with a nice breeze, breeze نسيم. Suddenly, at 2 o'clock, everything changed. I got a phone call on my mother. It was my mother. She told me that Faisal was in hospital. After I'd left the house, he had gone out on his bike without telling her. A car had hit him. He was unconscious and he had a broken wrist والرسل. My mother was crying. The fights drove me straight يعني مباشرة to the hospital. My parents were there already. Faisal was still unconscious and he looked very white. There was some blood on his forehead هي الجبهة أو الجبين, and a big cut on his cheek هو الخد. The doctor told me that my brother was going to be okay, but I felt terrible. My first words to my mom were, I wish I'd taken him to the park. I wish I hadn't been so selfish. If only I had listened to you, Mom. Faisal was unconscious for 3 days. We were all sick with worry for those 3 days. But in the end, everything was okay. On the 4th day, he woke up and asked for ice cream, sweets, and lemon. Everyone laughed, and the doctors said he could come home. Layla came to see him a few days later at home. Although بالرغم من this his broken wrist, بالرغم من الرسغ مالته المكسور, was in a cast, كان في الجزء في الجبس, he still managed to pull her hair. Return back to the beginning of page 64. If only I'd listened. It is a form of regret. We have read the article, اقرأ هاي المقالة, and choose the best answers, واختار الإجابات الأفضل. Number 1. Dana didn't take her brother to the beach because A. He had told her a lie. لأن أخبرها شو اسمه كذب. He told her a lie. أخبرها كذب. B أو كذبة. B. He had to go for a bike ride. لأن كان يجب أن يذهب إلى ركوب الدراجة. 6. She wanted to get away from her family for the day. إذن هي تريد أن تتخلص أو تخرج من عائلتها ليوم for a day. إذن الإجابة الصحيحة he wanted to get away from her family for the day. Number 2. Dana thinks the accident was A. her brother's fault, خطأ, إن الحادثة كانت بخطأ لأخوه. B. her fault هو خطأها. C. Layla's fault, خطأ ليلى. The correct choice is B. her fault. Lesson 9, page 64. If only I'd listened. Dana's story. Questions and answers. Number 1. Why didn't Dana take her brother Faisal to the park? Dana didn't take her brother Faisal to the park because she wanted to get away from her family for a change. تريد أن تخرج عن عائلتها لأجل التغيير لمدة يوم واحد. Number 2. What does Dana think the accident was? Dana thinks the accident was her fault. دانا تعتقد أن الحادث كان خطأها. Number 3. In which 2 ways does Faisal sometimes annoy Dana and her friend Layla? بأي طريقتين فيصل بعض الأحيان كان يزعج دانا وصديقتها ليلى. Faisal pulls Layla's long hair, كان يسحب أو يجر Layla's long hair, شعر ليلى الطويل, and he wants the girls ويريد من الفتاتين to play football with him أن يلعبوا كرة القدم معه. When they want بينما هن wanted to يريدن أن talk to each other يريدن أن يتحدثن أحدهما مع الأخرى يريدن الحديث أحدهما مع الأخرى. What food and drink did Dana take with her for the picnic؟ ما هو الطعام والشراب اللي أخذته للسفرة؟ Dana خبزت 2 cakes عملت كيكتين for the picnic لأجل السفرة and she took fruit وأخذت بعض الفاكهة and والليمون معها. 5. What lie did Dana tell her mother؟ ما هي الكذبة اللي دانا أخبرت أمها عنها؟ Dana told her mother دانا أخبرت أمها that there wouldn't be space إنه سوف لا يكون هنالك فراغ أو مجال in the car في السيارة for فيصل لأجل فيصل. But she didn't know لكنها لم تكن تعلم if this was true إذا كان ذلك حقيقي أو صحيح. 6. How did Dana find out about فيصل's accident؟ كيف عرفت دانا حول حادثة فيصل؟ Dana found out about فيصل's accident إذن اكتشفت أو عرفت عن حادثة فيصل when she got a call عندما تلقت نداء from her mother اتصال من أمها or when her mother phoned her أو عندما أمها اتصلت بها. 7. How did the accident happen؟ كيف الحادثة حصلت؟ فيصل had gone out on his bike فيصل خرج بالدراجة مالته and a car had hit him وسيارة صدمته. 8. How did Dana feel؟ كيف شعرت دانا when she saw her brother in hospital عندما رأت أخوها في المستشفى؟ Dana felt extremely sorry شعرت جدا آسفة when she saw her brother in hospital عندما رأت أخوها في المستشفى. 9. What did she wish؟ ماذا تمنت؟ She wished تمنت she hadn't been so selfish إنها لم تكن جدا أنانية and had taken فيصل to the park وأخذت فيصل إلى الحديقة. 10 أو إلى المنتزه. 10. How did everyone know فيصل was better on the 4th day؟ كيف كل واحد عرف بأن فيصل أصبح أفضل the 4th day في اليوم الرابع؟ Everyone كل واحد know فيصل was better إنه فيصل كان أفضل on the 4th day في اليوم الرابع because he wanted لأنه أراد ice cream, sweets and lemon.